Hi everybody, I'm back. It's your girl Epiphany, Tanya, and I'm here with yet another video. So what do you think you're supposed to do? You're supposed to go and hit that subscribe, hit comment, like, subscribe, share the video. Comment, like, subscribe to that video down there. Anyway, okay, so I'm back. This is going to be part 2 of our discussion talking about the rise and possibly the downfall of the social justice warrior. We got people like Antifa and this BLM and all this stuff, right? They're working hand in hand now, right? And so in my last video, before I forget, make sure that you check out the description section, which is going to have a lot of links to my various businesses. Make sure you go check them out. You can go get free previews for the books, free previews on my courses. And if you see something you like, make sure you pick something up. T-shirts on Teespring, courses on Udemy, books on Amazon, services. If you just reach out and let me know, we can connect and we can I do services through video chat and counseling, coaching, consulting, all that good stuff, as well as ghostwriting and book publishing. Anyway, okay, I digress. Let's get to part 2 of the social justice warrior rise and downfall. So in the last video, I was talking about how I was using my former past training of counseling, in particular this model called Sanctuary, and this role, these actors of the victim, villain, and the rescuer, and how they all work together in the Sanctuary model. And sometimes people find themselves trapped in this triangle where it's going around where, someone has to play the victim, someone's playing the villain, someone's playing the rescuer all the time. So I see that in the social justice movement, that they all are trying to be these rescuers to these poor African-American people who have been brutalized by police brutality. When we look at the statistics, police brutality covers 1%. That's right, you heard me say 1% of the homicides are through police brutality, 1%, okay? And it's a greater number of whites that are killed by the police every year. But I digress, that's another story. But one of the things I want to talk about is how the African-American community, Black community, has made gang culture and crime culture a way of life, right? Now, not all, but some. There's a portion of us. It would be interesting if I did the study and found out, looked up the research on that, like what's the percentage? If we just look at the criminal justice system, we see that African Americans are incarcerated at a rate of about 37%, and we only make up 12 or 13% of the population, but 37% of the prisons are filled with African American Black people. So, but, instead of us dealing with the issue of, and how we're locked up, how we're policed, all these things, I feel like those are different conversations, where we can find, what portion of it is racism, what portion of it is the gang and crime culture that we promote, that is promoted in this culture, in this community. The stop snitching, remember that? Remember when that was so prevalent, stop snitching? That where they would intimidate everybody to not tell if they saw what happened in a crime, which was supposed to have started with criminals and the code and conduct between the thieves, right? The code of the thieves, but it translated some kind of way. It spread across all people and communities to where they intimidated the men, women, and children, the elderly, old ladies in the neighborhood. They were going to intimidate and strike fear in everybody that said anything, right? But this is a culture that we don't deal with and we don't talk about in the African American Black community, that you celebrate crime and criminals and criminal behavior, right? You lift up and idolize these rappers that are rapping about it. You make songs about it. You sing it. You ride around, right? Now you can say that they idolize, excuse my French, a slut culture, or being a whore, excuse my French, being a streetwalker, right? Because you have people like Cardi B who celebrate that. She's also in gangs, so she celebrates the gang life. So you have all these different groups. And so anyway, so when I bring that up, because some of the most slickest con artists I've met were in my own community, right? They knew how to do some stuff. I remember, I'm not proud to say my background and the things I was into. I told you guys about, let me see if I find this book. I told you guys about this book I wrote that talks about my life. Now, if you want to talk about being in the hood, I clean up quite nice. This is the work of the Lord, all of this right here. But this life right here was the life I lived before Jesus Christ came into my life. This is talking about the ghetto street life culture. And so I knew and dated plenty of con men, right? Guys that they knew how to alter checks. They knew how to, I always met a guy that was always trying to get me to do some type of check scam. Thanks be unto God that I didn't fall for that. I would have been sitting in a jail cell somewhere. But this was big in our community, this crime culture. But I say that to say, I feel like in the African American community, Black community, we have been crying racism and police brutality for so long. And so you have these people crying. And if you go back to my other video talking about the social justice warrior, well, George Floyd was the match that lit this flame that we see right now. Because now African American gang culture, crime culture could have been crying all this time. Oh, it's not me and my crime, it's the police. They're being mean to me. The police are being so mean to me, even though I'm committing the crimes and I'm doing these violent acts. It's the police's fault, right? They could have been crying that all this time. And if you get this book, let me see. If you get this book right here, this book, The Truth About the Black Men Exodus, where I write about my own personal stories of being brutalized and victimized. By who? My own culture, my own people, right? The truth about the Black men Exodus, right? Why are the Black men leaving us? Now, when I wrote this book, I will have to preface it with the fact that I believed at that time that racism was at the core. But now I understand that it's not racism, it's like slavery, racism playing a part, slavery, traveling through over the years, over the generations. But now I see that some of this stuff has nothing to do with slavery, right? It does have to do with the welfare state and the government's interference in everyday American life, right? Because when you start kicking in social welfare programs, then, you start to erode the family, right? So anyway, that's another story. I digress. Go check out Thomas Sowell and people like Larry Elders and all that teach on these things. Now, I just feel like in our community, it's been such a cry. It's like, I work with kids before, and I feel like, whenever a kid got in trouble, if you're in the classroom, I worked as a therapist in the classroom before, and whenever a kid got in trouble, they always was looking for who they could blame. It wasn't me, it was him. They would always point to somebody else, right? So no, they're not going to take responsibility for their criminal activity, but they're going to say it's the police's fault that they're brutalizing me, right? The police are doing their job. They're there to stop crime. If you're a criminal, they're there to stop the crime that you're doing, right? But no, it's the police's fault. So they've been crying about this for so long. And now finally, these social justice warriors, that George Floyd situation was like a dog whistle that woke them up and said, oh my goodness, we have to go rescue and save the poor Black men from the police brutality, right? And they jumped on board with the BLMs. And BLM had their own agenda already, talking about destroy the nuclear family. We want to dismantle and disrupt the nuclear family. They had their agenda of what they were trying to do. And so these social justice warriors, they got wind of somebody to save, somebody to rescue. Dun, 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 dun. Here I am to save the day. Social justice warriors on the way. So they got wind of this, and now they're rising up, right? Because they need a victim. They need a victim to save. They need a victim, S.A. They need a victim. So now it's the poor Black people, the poor Black children in the community, and oh my goodness, so let's go rescue them and save them. And so I just feel like it was a con job that now has feet and legs and a voice and a megaphone and money and funding. They get all these millions donated to them by corporations, and it was a con job, because it's like, it wasn't me, it was him. It's a classic song that has been sung, in, any classroom I ever worked in, these kids they never wanted to take responsibility for themselves. They never wanted to say when they did something wrong. They never wanted to say, I shouldn't have gotten up and punched him in the face just because he said words to me. No, it was his fault because he talked about my mama. It was his fault because he did XYZ. And so, they cried, and now they have people who are ready to jump on board and rescue them. And now you have this big, giant, huge movement. But I say all this to say because I wanted to come back and I wanted to kind of put a nice little bow on that previous video about the social justice warrior, that the reason that there's this rise is because there are so many people out here who are unhappy with the system as it is because they're not taking personal responsibility for themselves. If they have job loss, I see it all the time now on, the White House page. If you go on Facebook, the White House, you have all these people going on there complaining, and they're talking trash against Donald Trump, and he's the reason for everything. They blame him for everything. And it's like, what about taking responsibility in your own life? Because if you don't have a job right now, or even seeing what it was, my shout out to my brother, Brandon Tatum, who said, he's not God. I've been saying that for a minute myself, that Donald Trump is not God. He's not your Lord and Savior. He's not the end all be all that you think that he's supposed to stop COVID. He's supposed to, dun dun dun. He's supposed to have a cape on with a coat. Like now he went to the hospital. He has the medicine and he came out well. So it's kind of now, but even then you're talking to, he didn't have a mask on. He took his mask off. And the man can't win for losing. But anyway, that's another story. But you just have to see it for what it is. And I kind of see things for what they are now, that, it was a con job. You got to understand that these people, this organization between the BLM, the Antifas and all that stuff, the trained Marxists and the Marxism, that they just want to spread their socialist agenda, where if you could sit back and just collect the check and you don't have to work, you don't have to take care of yourself, you don't have to take personal responsibility, you can just get the government to take care of you, you can have people just give into your account and donations and all these things, then why wouldn't you cry this game of police brutality that's only 1% of your total homicides that's in your community, when it's more black on black crime? You don't want to deal with that, because the real money is in trying to defund the police and get the money that they got. See, if you're in a gang and you see another gang, a rival gang, and they got backing, they got uniforms, they unified, they're strong, they trained, they got funding behind them that's coming from the government. No, I want what they got. No, I want to be able to sit back and just get money, continue to commit my crimes, get rid of them, because they're stomping on my territory. They're stomping on what I'm trying to do here. So how can we take down police? How can we take them down, right? This is all calculated. This is all, on top of the fact you go up higher in the chain and you see what's going on politically, that you got people that invested so many millions and billions of dollars against Donald Trump's win and run for the presidency, because that role, that seat, that position of presidency has always been puppet mastered. They've puppet mastered that position. So when Donald Trump stepped in there and he's his own man and you can't control him, they're mad because they want somebody they can control. They want somebody that's going to do their bidding. These higher level elite people that have all these millions of dollars, these George Soros, they're invested in everything coming down, toppling down, because they lost the first time. They're going to do everything in their power not to lose this one again. They want to do everything in their power to not let Donald Trump win this thing again, because they lost so many millions the first time around. So that's why they got so much money now invested into the news stations. They got to spin that fake news, spit it out, propaganda. This is all part of this Marxist ideology and system. This is a planned, coordinated attack, right? Because you got to have your propaganda has to go along with your Marxism, communism, socialist. You got to have that propaganda in there, right? And so anyway, I just hope you guys can see some of this stuff. I'm trying to help you open your eyes and see what's really going on. You got to look deeper. You got to do your research. You got to do your homework. But this is all orchestrated. This is, I even maybe I'm going too much on the conspiracy theory side, but I even wondered if this man, that dude that did what he did to the Chauvin guy, I just wonder, was that, did that just happen? Or was that some type of plan? Was he part of it too? Did they pay him off and just say, you know, you might have to do some years in jail, but your family will be taken care of? Like, I don't know, like it's just too much craziness right now. And to have the good be called evil and the evil be called good, they're bashing this woman right now on the Supreme Court, who, if you see, for all intents and purposes, looked like she almost lived her life like a saint. You can't be like, what the squeaky clean image that this woman has, they trying to tear her down right now. They trying to find something, they picking. So you just have to wonder, you just got to look at the whole grand scheme of things and try to really understand what's going on when they calling good evil and evil good, right? They're saying that BLM deserves a Time magazine front cover recognition. They're going to say they give them an award for the Inner Time magazine award. You want to say that that's a good organization that's caused all this ruckus and chaos? You know, you can't compare yourself to no Martin Luther King, who marched peacefully. You can't compare yourself to that movement. When you got buildings burned, businesses, Black lives that had those businesses destroyed. So anyway, I digress. I'm going to go on and get off this video. You guys are not going to get me started today. You're not going to have me on here caught up. But anyway, tell me what you think. What's your thoughts? What say you about this whole rise and soon downfall of this social justice warrior movement? Because for one thing, you know, I just wonder, what's the end game? You know, it's all about Donald Trump. You got to really see that none of this stuff happened until he came into office, and most people want to take it and flip it and blame it on him. But I see what's coming against him as the real culprit in this whole thing. It's these forces that don't want him in the position of power. And you have to ask yourself why. When I see all the stuff that this man has done during his presidency, he's really made it so he's leveling the playing field for anybody. Anybody can get to a certain level and position. Anybody can reach a level of success, right? Because if you take the regulations off the businesses, if you lower the taxes, you stimulate in the economy, you creating jobs, you're doing all this stuff that's actually good for us. Why are they calling you evil? Why are they against you? Why are they calling you a racist when you're helping more Black people than any president I've ever seen? Why? You have to question, you have to dig deeper. Anyway, this is Epiphany Tanya. Make sure you go down in that description, you click those links, you get the different books and ministry and t-shirts and courses and all this stuff I got going on. Anyway, moving on. Until the next video, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Go be great on purpose. Whatever you're going through, if you have the Lord Jesus, he can turn that thing around for you. Go be great on purpose. What else I got for you? I don't know. I think that's all for today. You guys drop down in the comments. Let me know any other topics you want me to cover in these videos. What else you want me to talk about. I thank you guys so much for all your support and encouragement and love and comments and liking and sharing and subscribing. I just appreciate you so much. God bless you. Peace.